Ball here, joining you guys again for day 2 of our Fearless in February challenge, where for the next 21 days, now the next 20 days, I'm going to be coming in live with you guys, talking about 21 days of fearless living and giving you guys some really powerful tips that are practical, spiritual, and just giving you an opportunity to ask questions and connect with me to discuss all things fearless living. So if you live anywhere close to the northern hemisphere, you are in a cold snap, and I know a lot of you guys have been listening to me whining about the freezing cold. But February can be a really depressing time where it's really hard to find a lot of time for exercise and walking and getting outdoors. And so it seems a little odd that I'm coming in here talking to you guys about the power of walking and exercise when it comes to overcoming anxiety, even overcoming feeling overwhelmed or discontented, really any of those sort of negative emotions that really bog us down. There's such a powerful correlation between exercise, walking, getting out and walking, and healing the mind and refreshing the mind and the spirit as well. So for day 2, I thought it was really important that I would bring up this topic. So I have my Instagram group joining me here live. You guys feel free to ask questions too if you want, and I'll peek over here and I can answer some of your questions. So I'm going to go through my book over the next 21 days. And so day 2, as we're talking today in my book, Fearless in 21 Days, is the body-mind connection. So this is an entire chapter that I felt was really important enough to come first in the book, because it talks about how much our body and our body's health affects our mental health, and how much our mental health affects our spiritual health, how much your spiritual health affects your mental health, and how much your mental health may affect your body. So I am a huge believer that when God says that he wants to come in and heal your mind, he's going to be healing all of you, your body, your mind, and your spirit. So for those of you who don't know my story, I encourage you to go to saraheball.com to sort of check out a little bit of my story of overcoming anxiety. But for me, one of the biggest focuses that I have in my book, because it was such a big focus for me when I was overcoming and healing anxiety, was not just taking care of my spiritual side, not only focusing on my mental health, but focusing on all 3 aspects of my health: my body, my mind, and my spirit. And the really cool thing was what God showed me was that he cares for the whole self. And oftentimes when people who are struggling with mental health go to other people for guidance or support or prayer, especially within the church, they usually only get a spiritual response to what I really believe is a physical, mental, and spiritual issue. And so it's really important for those of you who feel like, okay, you may not be struggling with anxiety, you may be not going through a breakdown, you may never really struggle with depression, but maybe you always struggle with feeling, discontented, or feeling tired all the time, or just feeling discouraged, or especially in February, you're feeling a little bit of the winter blues. Then I want to propose to you guys that when you go to sort of self-analyze and figure out what can I do to help myself get over this hurdle, that you focus on your body, your mind, and your spirit. Because honestly, you can be in the biggest funk and you can feel so depressed and go, oh my goodness, what is wrong with me? And so you sit down and you start praying and you're trying to work it out, and you're, struggling, and you're beating yourself up for being depressed because you shouldn't be. And then by accident, you go out on a walk because you have to walk the dog or someone invites you to go. And guess what? All of a sudden you feel better. And so what was really happening mentally and emotionally in that moment was more of a physical issue. You just needed to get out and you needed to move your body and get things flowing in your mind again. And exercise, regular exercise, especially when you're going for a walk and outside and outdoors and nature, really is a very powerful tool in maintaining your mental health. So it's something that I have not been doing in February. So I'm like, oh, I have to come on here and tell people that they have to exercise and go for walks when I don't want to leave my house. However, it's a very important part of my mental health recovery, and it was a very important part of my mental health staying healthy. So exercise and walking is really, really important. one of the biggest things that walking and exercise do for anxiety is it reduces stress. Like there's something about, I know when I went through my breakdown, I had such a pent up, contained energy, this adrenaline that needed to go somewhere, and it was just manifesting in anxiety. So it was something that was just festered, and it would build up throughout the day, and it would build up. And so there was something about going outside or going to the gym or going for a walk that really helped me burn off that stress and really help kind of shake off that negative energy, shake off that anxiety. So that was a really huge practical tip for me. In the beginning of my journey, that wasn't easy. I couldn't even leave my house, let alone go for a walk. And so I remember the first time a friend had come over and said, what can I do to help you? I should take you for a walk. Well, I remember walking down the front pathway outside of my house, and I had to stop, and I got really emotional because it was really, really hard for me to leave my home, and the anxiety was so intense. Even walking was difficult. But then over time, I may only have made it so far that first time, but then the next time I made it a little bit further, and then after that I made it a little bit further than that, and then walking for me became a lifeline. And so there are moments where I was so overcome mentally that I would force myself to go for a walk, and because it was the only thing that brought me instant relief, versus taking medication, versus getting someone even to talk it through with me or distract myself with busyness. Going for a walk gave me instant relief from anxiety and the adrenaline and the stress that I was under. So walking dramatically reduces stress, and we all know, those of you guys who struggle with anxiety, stress is usually a very big issue in your life. There's usually those who struggle with anxiety don't have a very simple, easy, laid back kind of lifestyle. They have one where there's a lot of pressure, a lot of responsibility on them, a lot of pressure, whether or not you're a busy parent or you have a busy job or a lot of people depend on you. Stress is huge. And so those people who struggle with anxiety, stress can be a huge component. And so walking is a lifeline for you guys. Really, really important. Just saying hi to my Instagram group here. Happy you guys can join me because you guys get the awesome sparkly filter, whereas Facebook, I look like I'm 95 years old because of the video filter. But anyway, so I'm happy to join you guys besides that. So these videos every single day over the next 21 days are 20 minutes long, short and sweet. And I want to ask you a favor as we go into our next discussing a little bit more about walking and exercise. And I mentioned this yesterday. One of the most common emails and comments that I get from people is saying, I am so glad I found you. I'm so glad I found your website. I'm so glad I found your book. I'm so glad I found you, because there is not a lot of help out there for those who are struggling with anxiety, especially within the Christian circle. A lot of it can be very over spiritualized and don't really cover all aspects of recovery, something practical, body, mind, and spirit. So will you do me a favor and over the next 21 days, share these videos with your friends, because there's a lot of people who are struggling with this because there's still a shame stigma attached to it, and not a lot of people feel very safe to ask for help and don't even know where to start. And maybe the resources that I have at least give them a sense of hope that they can begin a healing journey out of anxiety. So share this video, share it with your friends, share it with people that may be struggling, and help them find me. All right. So the second one is with walking, this goes along with reduction of stress, is it boosts serotonin. So those of us who exercise, I have heard a lot of amazing stories of people battling severe, crippling, suicidal depression without medication, healing themselves through daily exercise and how much that made a difference in their life, especially if you tend to be somewhat sedentary and exercise is not your favorite thing. And I have to be honest, it's not my favorite. I don't enjoy moving. I would rather be lying down or sitting and eating. That's my preference. And there's a lot of people who are sedentary who struggle with depression. And one of the most powerful sources in healing the mind is exercise. When I went to my doctor with crippling anxiety and depression, he said to me, Sarah, what is more effective than medication? He says, number one was exercise, and number two was community. And those two things they had proven scientifically were just as effective in treating mental health issues as depression and anxiety as medication was. And so even though I do believe in medication, and there's a season and there's a lot of people who really need that help to get them above water so they can do deeper healing, I really don't want to see you guys put exercise and community on the shelf, because it is such a huge instant relief for anxiety and depression. So there were times where when I started struggling with very, very severe depression, that going for a walk and getting some exercise, and I'm not talking vigorous like cardio workouts, I'm just talking moving my body, getting my heart rate going, moving my legs, things like that, that actually increase the serotonin in your brain and help heal your mind from severe depression and anxiety. Another one I think that's really important is it improving your self-confidence, just being in shape and feeling good about yourself, and being out there and feeling strong. I think even just feeling strong in your body really helps with your mental health. I know a lot of the times people who struggle with anxiety feel a sense of weakness in every aspect of their life, in their faith life, in their physical body, and you really have an overall sense of weakness. And so, like I said, when you strengthen one part of yourself, the rest of it, I believe, follows. So for me, for example, whenever I've been struck down with illness or with some type of recovery where I'm physically not able to really get up and go, I've always used those moments and opportunities to strengthen my spirit. I'll often say out loud, you know what, I may be, bedridden right now, and I may not physically be able to move, but I can strengthen my spirit. And I believe in doing that eventually helps heal your body faster. And so I also believe, without a shadow of a doubt, that when you focus on your physical health as well and your physical well-being, I believe that it actually strengthens your spirit. When you feel strong physically, it does something with your spirit and your mind to make you feel stronger. So there's something about that self-confidence and that feeling of strength that can really help lift that fog off of you. So for those of you who've been like, you know what, I just feel under this cloud and I can't seem to get my joy back, and I'm struggling with worry and not sleeping well and all those kind of things, and I've been reading my Bible and I've asking for prayer and nothing's working, do me a favor and try incorporating regular exercise, and watch how when you increase the strength of your body, it will actually begin to influence your spirit and your mind. I truly believe it. There's so many scriptures to back up the connection between body, mind, and spirit. Even David in the Psalms talks about how, because he is so anguished in spirit that his bones are crying out, his bones are struggling and weakened because of what's happening in his spiritual mind. And so there really is a connection between body, mind, and spirit. And God says to worship him with our entire being, our body, mind, and spirit. And so I believe when we focus and take care of all aspects of our being, that God really blesses our journey on this earth. The other point I wanted to bring up about the powerful tool of exercising and overcoming anxiety and depression and just feeling all around blah is it increases relaxation. It helps you sleep better. So I always find, I'm sure you guys could agree with me, that when you go for a long walk and you get yourself super tired, or you're out having a really fun day with your kids and you're being really physically active, and you go to bed that night and you're like, oh, that was such a busy day. And you will notice that you sleep better and you fall asleep quicker and your rest is deeper, and it just overall helps you to relax in a deeper, more intense way to get the rest that you guys need. So it sounds a little bit opposite when you're struggling with sleep and you feel tired all the time, but exercise really helps you guys sleep. And we all know how important sleep is, especially when we're struggling with mental health issues, or we're just feeling all around February. I can't think of a word. February, I was going to say February fabulous, but an opposite word of that begins with F. Let me know something, the February funk, let's say that. That's a good one. When we're in the February funk, because you guys, it's tough out here. I don't know if any Canadians there, give me a thumbs up. It's tough to get out and exercise when we are in a cold snap like we've been in. This is an interesting one about exercise that you may have not thought about, especially when it comes to anxiety and depression. One thing for me is that I used to be, how do I say this? I am a very creative person. I'm a very deep thinker. I think all the time. I have a unique approach to life. I have a unique way of looking at things. I don't look at things as black and white. I see sort of the bigger picture. And it's just the gift, the mind that God's given me, which can be used for good or it can be used for evil. So because I've always have this busy, overactive mind, it used to sort of, when I was younger and didn't struggle with mental health, it showed up in creative projects. It showed up in taking on a new thing and exciting adventures. And I used my creative mind to build and create and start things and plan things. And it was something that I used for good. But then as I became really debilitated through anxiety and mental health issues, I found that all of my creative energy was completely sucked into my anxiety. So instead of thinking about how I could completely redecorate this thing, or how I could come up with this new program or blog post or some creative thing, I was using it to imagine all the ways I could die and suffer. So for me, anxiety and depression sucked my creativity. And I remember really missing it. I remember missing that part of me. I remember thinking, wow, I have no desire to be creative anymore. I have no desire to paint or even listen to music much, or dream up things or create things or plan things. Like I really sucked up all of my creative energy, and I really, really miss that. So there's something, what does this have to do with exercise? Well, there's something about going for a walk, and you hear this a lot, you guys. I don't know if you've ever heard some of these stories where this great inventor or this great person is really struggling with a decision or with an idea, and then they're like, I went for a walk, and then all of a sudden it was like I had this aha moment. And I really feel that there's something to that. I think there's something to going for a walk and exercising, and it clearing your mind and clearing the busyness and the chatter in your mind, getting you out of your home where you're kind of, even though our home is our peaceful place, it can sometimes be a trigger and a reminder of all the stresses and anxiety we have in our life. And so getting out of that place, and oh, you guys are crooked here, hang on, there we go. Getting you guys out of that place can really sort of get those creative juices flowing again, and start connecting with that creative part of yourself, and using, because it's sort of, the exercise is dealing with the anxious energy and sort of burning that off, so to speak. It allows your mind a greater opportunity to think and to create. So exercise is really good at getting the brain moving. You're getting more oxygen to the brain, and you're allowing it to just do what it was created to do. And that was to create, to love, to think, to plan, and connect with God. So exercise clears your head. And when you have a clear head, my friends, God has an easier time of breaking through those busy, bundled up, anxious knots in your brain. And so I know from my own personal experience that going for a walk has allowed me to really connect with God on a deeper level, and to hear from him easier, and to connect with him and be able to communicate with him. And I don't know why that is so, but I just found, I don't know if you guys agree with me, but when you go for a walk and you get out there and you're moving your body and you're kind of leaving your home and you're getting yourself away from all of those things that kind of keep you busy, that God has an easier time of breaking through those foggy brains and speaking to your heart. So that's what I wanted to share you guys today. I know it seems like a very go for a walk, but this is a powerful tool. And for you to just ignore this and throw this away is really silly, because exercise, like I said, is one of the #1 most effective ways in curing depression and anxiety, in healing the mind. So if you find yourself that maybe for the first time you're really struggling with anxiety, and maybe you never used to, but all of a sudden you're finding yourself really struggling mentally with depression, with whatever, your first line of defense is rest, which I believe is important. But the second line of defense, in my opinion, is exercise, is getting out and not overdoing it, not striving with marathons, because that can really be really difficult on your body during times of mental stress, but walking and moving and just getting out in nature and being connected with that, because I think it's a very, very powerful tool. So make sure you find time in your day, because when you do that, you're taking care of yourself. And you guys know, for those of you who are busy and you're driven, a lot of people depend on you, that you're no good to anybody if you are a bundle of mess mentally and spiritually. So get out and start walking, and start enjoying the benefits of daily exercise. So this post has challenged me to get out there, whether rain or sleet or snow or really cold weather. I'm going to go for a walk, and I am going to post a picture to prove it. It might just be a short walk, but it's better than nothing, you guys. So post your pictures too. If you have a chance, send me a picture of you guys going for a walk and being very obedient. Anyway, that's it, you guys. Our 20 minutes are up. Make sure that you share this video. This may seem simple, but to somebody who's like, I feel so depressed, I don't know what's wrong with me, and all of a sudden they're panicking in their heart and their mind, and they're wondering, you know, what to do, send them this video to say, hey, here is a quick and easy tip to help yourself get on the journey of overcoming anxiety, depression. And just a reminder, as part of the reason why we're doing this Fearless in 21 Day February series, is to kick off the launch of my new book, Fearless in 21 Days. I love this cover. It just brings me so much hope, and that this is going to really bless a lot of people and bring some freedom and deliverance for people from anxiety. So bless you guys. Have an awesome Sunday, and we will see you tomorrow sometime live, and we'll catch up with you tomorrow. So make sure you guys have that set aside so you guys connect. Before I go, any questions? I noticed a couple of you just popped on. Hi, Nicole. Hi, Libby. If you guys have any questions, let me know. I'm happy to answer it. And then I can also leave some comments below after this video has been saved. Thanks, Instagram, for joining me. You guys are awesome. Really appreciate you guys connecting and joining me on Instagram. It's really cool that I can do a little bit of both. So that's a lot of fun. All right, signing out. Happy Sunday, you guys. Love you. Bye.